Appalachian sunrise meets my skin. Even with my eyes still closed, I can feel it coming in. Golden, golden, I'll follow only golden, 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 golden things. Mountain Laurel high fives for miles in spring.
Hello, welcome to a Homespun house. My name is Molly and I am so happy that you're all here to take a little bit of time as I share with you the things that I've been knitting on, working on, and I have a lot of knitting for you today. I've been so inspired and it feels so good after such a long summer break of not doing so much knitting. I did a bit of blanket knitting, a bit of sock knitting, but I have picked up and worked on so many more projects. Let's start with something new that I've picked up. You've actually seen it off my needles, so it's an older project, but I've decided to pick this up again. This is the Jenny sweater. You've seen this off of my needles already. It's a pattern by Petite Knit, but I decided I needed to pick this up again. So I think I knit the size medium in this sweater. I knit it out of our gumdrop colorway. So a homespun house is my yarn dyeing business, and you'll see all of the colors here that I'm knitting with are colors that I dye and sell in the shop. And I just love knitting with them. There's something so cool about creating a yarn, a colorway, dyeing it, watching it dry, and then spinning it up and knitting it. I'm not spinning the yarn myself, but I mean like putting it into a cake. So this is our gumdrop colorway. This sweater calls for a rounded, I wouldn't even call it a crew neck. I think it's a little bit lower than a crew neck, but a rounded neck. And my neck came out as a pretty big boat neck. It looked so unfinished. I think I just wore it for a pod, like maybe the last 2 podcasts ago, and I never wore it since. Every time I looked at it inside of my drawer, I thought, I need to donate this because I am never, ever going to wear it. And then I was catching up on those twins who knit, and one of them is knitting the Jenny cardigan. And she was just showing the sleeve that she was working on, and I thought, oh, it's so beautiful. I love that cardigan, just the pattern so much. I really need to do something about mine. So after watching, I took it out and I decided I can't find where the neck begins or ends. I am just going to cut it off. And that took a long time, because when you cut it, you don't just have a simple strand to unwind. I needed to pick off a piece, another piece, and another piece. So a few hours later, the neck was unwound, and I'm so grateful that I had some of this yarn left over from when I was knitting on the sweater. This is all of the leftovers. And I decided to pick up the neck and knit a folded over turtleneck. I think this is going to look so pretty. So here's how it looks. It's very, very, very oversized, but I think it's going to be now so warm and cozy to wear, and I'm excited to wear it. I'm very excited to get this off of my needles, and that feels good because this was a piece before that when I was knitting on it, I enjoyed it so much, but every time I looked at it, once it was complete, I wasn't excited by it at all. In fact, like I said, I thought maybe I should donate it, give it to someone, but I didn't really want to give it to someone because the neck looked so terrible. So now it feels really good, and I think it's going to be one of my most worn knits, because this colorway, Gumdrop, is a colorway that I have been trying to dye up for years. And I finally figured it out, how to dye it, and it's one of my favorites. I've been wanting to knit a sweater out of this kind of a colorway for a long time, and now I have, and I finally will be able to wear it soon. It's way too hot for that now, but that's okay. It's still on my needles, and I know that some evenings at our bungalow, I'll be able to cozy up in this sweater while we play rummy at nighttime. So that's this one. So happy to have its revival and have it back. I'm kind of going to talk a little bit about sweaters first since we're talking about them. I'm also knitting the Tulip Sweater. This one I cast on, I don't know, sometime in the winter, I think. This is using our tulle skirt colorway. Isn't this so pretty? This is a bulky weight yarn, and I am knitting this up for Ruby, my youngest daughter. I really would love to keep this for myself. I've already tried it on, and it fits really nicely. It just needs sleeves. Now, I think that this could also be a super cool vest if you're into vests, and I kind of am into vests right now. I don't own one, but I would love, I think a linen one would be pretty cool in the summer, just to wear a thin kind of fitted linen vest. But I just have the sleeves to knit on this. I had a very difficult time knitting this pattern. I'm knitting the extra small. The way that this was written, I felt had so many mistakes that I just kind of knit up this pattern based upon looking at pictures. And I think it looks pretty well and pretty close to the way that the pattern looks. I also haven't really seen any comments or notes with people having problems about the pattern. So I don't know if it's just something I am not getting or if nobody has mentioned it. So I'm really enjoying this. It's such a cool knit. So the front has these 3 gorgeous cables, and they're very easy to do because there are a lot of rows in between where you cable. And then the back has this very beautiful V-shaped cable. So I've shared this mostly in the last podcast. I haven't even cast on any sleeves since then, so I don't want to talk about that too long. But hopefully the sleeves will be, at least one will be started, maybe finished by the next time. I knit and finished the Friday Tee by Petite Knit before the summer break. I shared that with you while I was knitting on it. I knitted out of our Diagon Alley colorway, and I didn't have enough yarn, so I ended up having to add some of our oatmeal colorway to the sleeves and then the bottom of the body. I knit that for my sister and I gifted it to her, and it was such a gorgeous knit. I love the way that it draped and fit. I tried it on before I gave it to her, and ever since I tried it on, I have been wanting one for myself. So I decided, well, I had been dreaming up colors that I wanted to knit it in, and I thought that something creamy would be really nice with gorgeous speckling. So I came up with this colorway. I decided to name this Sweater Weather. I feel like every single yarn shop has their own version of a sweater weather colorway, and I have been waiting for the perfect color to give this name to. And I think it only fits that I have to name the colorway that I'm knitting my own sweater with Sweater Weather. Otherwise, for me, it doesn't really make sense. So I thought this is the perfect colorway to make my Friday tee with. I'm also going to make it long sleeved. I'm not going to be striping it, and I'm not going to be adding any contrasts to the cuffs. I have dyed enough yarn for myself, and I have so much of this yarn in the shop because I think once you see my Friday tee, you're going to want to make one too. But I also think this would make gorgeous socks, mittens, hats. It's kind of that sort of a color that has such minimal but fine speckling that I think it lends itself to many different things. This would also be a really cool block in between other blocks for a blanket. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be using a speckled yarn amongst all of my Advent yarns when I start knitting my project with that. Advent is coming soon, and we do have Advent calendars in the shop. Robert told me this year that this is the best Advent calendar I've ever dyed. We're packaging up our Advents different than we have before. They're going to come inside of a box with golden embossing on it. And our logo will be on there, of course, somewhere. The color of the box is going to be so gorgeous and very, very Molly. And it's a nice sized box that it's something that you will be able to keep and add your Homespun House yarns in after you finish your Advent calendar. I'm very excited about it. So a lot of you have snagged an Advent calendar. As I said, there are still Advents in the shop. I pretty much know I'll be doing a blanket with mine, but I'm also curious to hear what all projects you're going to be doing with yours. So this is my upcoming Friday tee, and I'm going to cast that on as soon as I finish the turtleneck on my Jenny sweater. I've given myself that little bit of, I need to finish one first. The next thing that I've finished are 2 pair of socks. I knit another pair of these shorty socks. This is our summer fling sock set. We have these in the shop right now. So for those of you who are interested, go ahead and snag one. They're one of a kind skeins and they will not be back in the shop. So I did a rolled cuff and then I just knit the foot. This is my own pattern, nothing that has been written down. I chatted about this in our last podcast, so if you want to go and listen, you can hear all of the details on cast on counts and yarn used in that episode. I really like this pattern for socks for wearing in the spring and early fall with my tennies. I think they just look so cute. And this also has a lot of fun speckling in it, along with so many pretty colors. I also cast on another pair of socks. I knit the crunkled sock pattern by Kay Jones from the Bakery Bears, and this colorway, so this was our hibiscus sock set. It's one of our Patreon sock sets. We put out vlog videos, and this was last month's sock set. This is our soft sock base. We do all of our Patreon yarns on that base purely just so you can kind of mix and match and use them together. This is our French Kiss tonal. This is our Jello tonal. And then this color also is a one of a kind. That's how we do our Patreon yarns. We do bring them into the shop a little later after they've been released to Patreon, but just as one of a kinds. I always dye a few extra. I have a lot of fun dyeing these up because I don't write anything down. I am purely playing with color, and that is something I really enjoy. I have also cast on a new pair of socks. These are the Added Elegance socks by Mary Lucas. I'm using our chestnut colorway. This is one of my favorite browns that we offer in the shop. It's so pretty. I had finished these socks while we were at our bungalow, and I was so happy when I finished them that I had this skein in my project bag, because otherwise I wouldn't have had any knitting. So I saw that it was a tonal, and I thought, I really enjoyed doing the crunkle sock pattern. I really would like to do some sort of a pattern, but I think I want to do a cable. So I had these in my library, and it just has this very, very simple cable going down the leg and then the foot. Everything else is just standard knitting. Now this pattern is really cool because it comes with toe up, cuff down, a short row heel, and then a heel gusset. So you have all of those choices while knitting the pattern, depending upon your preferences. So I think that's very, very generous of the knitwear designer to offer all of that. So this is what I'll be taking with me to the bungalow this weekend. Just this. It's way too hot to bring any blanket, any sweater. This is the perfect knitting for the summer house. The second pair of socks that I am working on, I forgot that I ripped this entire thing out. So I have a lot of little yarn pieces in here. This is our Autumn Harvest sock set. You can just purchase the minis, which are these 6 colors, or you can purchase the minis with this deep ash colorway or with a cream colored yarn called Fresh Sheet. Now, of course, when you are knitting with minis, socks fly. So I can see here that I was knitting this magic loop, which is so weird to me. I put this project down at the end of last year because I knit it, finished it, and then I put it up next to this sock and I realized it was way larger. I cast on so many more stitches than I cast on for this sock, and I had to rip it all out, which was pretty frustrating, and I just ended up with a bunch of these little balls. I was at a point where I thought, I'm just going to throw these socks away. I am just going to throw these socks away. I felt so fed up and frustrated, but then I thought, you will be so happy next year when you see that you have one sock finished. It will feel like a completely new project and you can cast them on. And that's how I feel. I don't feel overwhelmed by it at all. I feel excited that I have something autumnal to cast on and knit on, getting me excited for fall. I'm still very much enjoying summer, not winter, summer and being at our bungalow. I'm soaking that up. Not wishing for fall yet, but somehow having this directly in front of me gives me an extra cozy vibe. Isn't that funny how material items can do things like that for us? But this definitely, I don't know, makes me feel cozy and makes me want to watch all of the cozy shows and movies while I sit and knit on this, snuggled up on the couch with one of my knitted blankets. I don't know. This really gives me that good feel. We can all knit and watch some cozy movies and snuggle up on our couches while we knit on those. I have been knitting on 2 blankets quite actively right now. Where are they? Here they are. One of them my dog loves, and she is laying on. She's like, don't take me off. Right, Polly? Yes. She doesn't want to get off. Sorry, sweetie. This is our Boucle blanket club. This is something we do monthly. Every month you get a new colorway. It's a complete surprise, but we have so many people knitting on this blanket and it is amazing. It is so amazing. I love that so many people are excited to knit on this and trust me to send them yarn that they have no idea how it's going to look. But in the end, we are all going to have a big cozy blanket. And I can feel when I knit on this that this is going to be a really nice blanket. It's 100% merino, and I don't know, it feels very different than any other blanket I've ever knit. So here is this boucle texture. This is January, so we'll start with January. This is copper. February is bohemian. March is whisper. April is chestnut, the same color I'm knitting my socks with. May is French kitten. June is barley. July is peony. And now we have August, and this is kohlrabi. Here's the cake. I'm still knitting with it. And it's so much fun to knit. We're going into a completely different color now. And it just adds a lot of fun to the blanket. Let me share with you my cute little needle stoppers. They kind of match perfectly with my kohlrabi colorway. And this blanket is so big. It's so big and so pretty. And I love to just sit here and cuddle up underneath of it while I'm knitting on it. And Polly, my dog, loves it too. She steals it often when I have it to the side and I'm working on a different project. The last and final thing that I'm working on is my Cozy Comfort Throw. This is a pattern designed by me, and I am using all of my minis for this blanket. It is coming to an end. I have 2 more skeins of this oatmeal colorway on our mohair base. I have 2 more skeins of this dyed, but I might just knit one more. I'll have to see the length of the blanket. It's already very large, but I have these minis that all need to be used up. Now they get eaten pretty quickly by the blanket. But I think once this bag is finished, the blanket will be done. And then who knows, maybe I'll start a new one. So I am knitting the Cozy Comfort Throw, which is a pattern by me. And I've loved knitting this blanket. This is how wide the blanket is. And this is how much of it I've knit. Just all different lengths depending upon how much yarn I have left. And I absolutely love the way that oatmeal kind of marls everything together, that it has an extremely cohesive look to the blanket. Now, I know it's all a homespun house yarn, so usually when you use a certain dyer for a blanket or a project, it can tend to blend together pretty nicely, especially if you're talking about speckled colorways. But just adding this kind of toned down, heathery mohair, I think it gives it so much more of a cozy feel to the blanket. This one is very warm. The mohair with this blanket, I think, makes it my favorite blanket of any of my blankets. This isn't a blanket that I would necessarily wear on bare skin because I think it would get too warm with the mohair. But I know come fall, come winter, early spring, this blanket is going to be so warm and cozy. I did knit another blanket using mohair, and that was my most favorite and most used blanket in the fall and winter. But I decided to gift it to my mom. That blanket meant a lot to me, and I really care about my mom, and I know she loves her blankets, so I wanted to gift that one to her so that she could wear it and use it. And I hope that she loves it. Maybe she uses it outside while she sits at her fire pit in the mornings with her coffee. So I'll have to ask her if she uses it and when and where. But that was my favorite blanket, and so I decided I needed to start a mohair one of my own so that I could also have a mohair blanket of my own to sit outside in the fall or inside, cozy it up while I'm knitting on my little autumnal harvest socks on my magic loop, which will be so interesting because I'm such a DPN knitter. I am happy though that I have at least a pair of socks on my DPNs to take to the bungalow while we go. As I mentioned, we'll be heading there this weekend. I'm looking forward to it because it's supposed to be really warm, and I love when we're at the bungalow for it to be so ridiculously hot that I need to dip in and out of the water every 10 minutes. I can go out on the paddle boards. We have 2 of those that we like to go out on. And I don't know, it just feels like pure heaven when we're at the bungalow. Robert grills in the evenings. It's too hot to be in the kitchen, and grilling just feels a bit lighter and not so hot. We don't really like eating hot food in the summer. So a lot of fresh lettuces and tomato and onions and other tasty things for dinner. It is nice because it seems as though our evenings have been getting pretty cool. So when we are at our bungalow and we aren't too tired after the warm day outside in the sun, we love to play rummy. I never knew how to play rummy before I met Robert, but his parents, that's kind of always been their summer thing, that they play rummy every evening. Well, his dad doesn't play. His dad watches and keeps company, but us ladies, along with Robert, play. And it's just so nice. It's so nice in the evening that it gets a bit cooler. I can put on a sweatshirt. I can't put on a sweater yet. It's not that cold in the evenings. But I do put on a sweatshirt and cozy up with a tasty drink or tea and hopefully win. I don't care who I win against as long as I win against Robert. Like everyone else can beat me in score, but I need to beat my husband. For me, that's the most important thing. That's why I'm playing the game. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm looking forward to going this weekend. Looking forward to knitting. I have added so many new sock sets and kits to the shop. We have our advent calendars. Those will be shipping out soon. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you again sometime soon.